Hello students. So in today's session we will be discussing about primary market and the methods of flotation as well as secondary market and other certain concepts which is related to financial market. Okay. So the first concept is primary market. So this primary market is also known as new issue market. Primary market is also known as new issue market. So this primary market, it deals with new securities being issued for the first time. Okay, so they are those kind of securities that are issued into the market for the first time. It is a new issue. Yes, new issue of security. So the essential function of a primary market is to facilitate the transfer of investable funds from savers to entrepreneurs seeking to establish new enterprises or to expand existing ones through the issue of securities for the first time. So like we already discussed in your previous classes, so it's very important that the investable fund from the savers will have to reach the entrepreneurs. So for that reason what we do is like we get this primary market into existence. So it totally facilitates the transfer of investable funds from savers to entrepreneurs seeking to establish new enterprises. So sometimes there are chances that they are used for expanding the existing ones through issue of securities for the first time. So the investors in these markets are banks or financial institutions, as well as insurance company, mutual funds, as well as the individual. So all these are the various investors. Okay, so it may be bank or sometimes financial institutions or insurance company or mutual funds, etc. So a company, it's like it can raise capital through capital primary market in the form of equity shares, or like we already discussed, it can raise funds through equity shares or preference shares, debentures maybe, or loans and deposits. All these are the ways through which it can raise capital through primary market. So the funds raised maybe for setting up a new project, or expansion or diversification of a business organization, or modernization of existing business organization, mergers of a business organization. So all these are the various purpose for which the funds will be set up or funds will be raised. So funds, like I told you, it may be raised for various purpose, like setting up a new project maybe, or expansion of a business organization, diversification of business organization maybe, or there are chances that you start up with a modernization, that is all changing of all the outdated water resource or outdated equipments that are available in the business organization, and modernizing the business organization. It may be mergers. So all these are the ways through which, or all these are the reason for which you raise funds through primary market. So the next concept is methods of flotation. Methods of flotation. So there are various methods of floating new issues in the primary market. So how the flotation of new issues in the primary market takes place. The first one is offer through prospectus. Offer through prospectus. So offer through prospectus is most popular method of raising funds by public companies in the primary market. Yeah, so like I told you in your first year, so what you do is like you issue prospectus to the general public. Okay, and that is how you raise the fund. Okay, you persuade the investors to buy the shares of that particular company, and then they buy the shares, and that is how your shares of the company get sold, and you can raise your fund. So offer through prospectus is the most popular method of raising funds by public companies in the primary market. So this involves inviting subscription from the public through issue of prospectus. So prospectors make a direct appeal to the investors to raise capital through an advertisement in the newspaper or magazines or journals or some other sources. Okay, so what you do is like you are just providing an opportunity, or just letting the investors know about the new issue that is taking place, so that the investors can invest in these kind of ventures, or they can subscribe for the shares of the company. So the issue may be underwritten and also are required to be listed on at least one stock exchange. So without listing on stock exchange, it's like you are not supposed to raise your funds, or you are not supposed to issue the shares. Yeah, so if you want to issue the shares, then obviously it has to be listed in any of the at least one stock exchange. So the contents of the prospectus have to be in accordance with the provisions of the Company Act and SEBI disclosure. So SEBI, Securities Exchange Board of India, is the one controlling authority or regulatory authority when it comes to your joint stock company. So when you raise funds, when you issue prospectus, the prospectus should be according to or in accordance with the provisions of the Companies Act. Yes, so Companies Act, it may be any Companies Act till Companies Act of 2013. Okay, so ಯಾವ್ದು ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೂ ಆಗಿರಬಹುದು. And the SEBI's disclosure. Okay, so the rules and regulations should be in such a manner that it is protecting the investors. Okay, so the investors should be benefited and they should not be affected in any manner. The second one is offer for sale. So under this method, securities are not issued directly to the public. Securities, they are not issued directly to the public, but they are offered for sale through intermediaries. They are offered, they are not directly provided to the customers. They are not directly provided to the customers. Customers in the sense, they are not directly issued to the general public, but they are offered for sale through intermediaries like issuing houses or stock brokers, etc. Okay, so this is how, through which these are the people through which the company sells the shares or securities. So in this case, the company sells securities at an agreed price to the brokers, who in turn resell them to the investing public. Okay, so what they do, the companies, they sell the securities at an agreed price to the brokers. So most of the time what they do is like they sell the securities to the investor at a price which is less than the market price. So market price ಗಿಂತ ಕಡಿಮೆಗೆ ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಇದು ಎಂಥದ್ದು ಸೆಕ್ಯೂರಿಟೀಸನ್ನು ಬ್ರೋಕರ್ಸ್ಗೆ ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಎಸ್, ಸೊ ಬ್ರೋಕರ್ಸ್ ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಅದನ್ನು ಆ್ಯಕ್ಚುಯಲ್ ಪ್ರೈಸಿಗೆ ಸೇಲ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಹೌ ದ ಬ್ರೋಕರ್ಸ್ ಗೆಟ್ ಬೆನಿಫಿಟೆಡ್ ಔಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಇಟ್. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ವಾಟ್ ದೇ ಡೂ ಇಸ್ ಲೈಕ್ ದೇ ಬೈ ಫ್ರಮ್ ದಿ ಓನರ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿ ಸೆಕ್ಯೂರಿಟೀಸ್ and then they resell them to the investing public. So this is how offer for sale works. The third one is private placement. Private placement. So private placement is allotment of securities by a company to institutional investors and some selected individual. It is nothing but placement. Private placement, it is nothing but allotment of security by a company to institutional investor and some selected individual. So it helps to raise capital more quickly than public issue. It helps to raise capital more quickly than public issue. So raising capital through private placement is much easy than in public issue. So access to the primary market can be expensive on account of various mandatory and non-mandatory expenses. Access to the primary market can be expensive on account of various mandatory as well as non-mandatory expenses. So some companies therefore cannot afford the public issue and choose to use private placement. So all the companies, yes, all the companies, they will not be in a position to afford public issue. Public issue na ellargu afford madlikke agilla. So some business organization or some individual, what they do is like they choose private placement. They choose private placement. The fourth one is rights issue. So this is a privilege which is given to the existing shareholders to subscribe to new issues of shares according to the terms and conditions of the company. Okay, so the company will already have an amount of existing shareholders. Yeah, so existing shareholders are the one who already have the shares of that particular company. So this is a privilege which is given to those shareholders to subscribe to the new issue of shares according to the terms and conditions of the company. So the shareholders, they are offered the right to buy new shares in proportion to the number of shares they already possess. So ಎಷ್ಟು shares ಇದೆ ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಪ್ರಪೋರ್ಷನಲ್ಲಿ ಹೊಸ ಶೇರ್ಸನ್ನು ಬೈಯುವ ಆಪರ್ಚುನಿಟಿ ಅಥವಾ ರೈಟನ್ನು ಯಾರು ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾರು ಎಕ್ಸಿಸ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ಶೇರ್ ಓನರ್ಸ್ ಇರ್ತಾರೆ ಅವರಿಗೆ ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ. The fifth one is EIPOs. EIPOs. So company proposing to issue capital to the public through online system of the stock exchange. It has to enter into an agreement with the stock exchange. Why? Because without entering into the agreement with the stock exchange, it is not possible for them to issue the shares to the public. Yes, so they enter into an agreement with the stock exchange. So this is called as initial public offering. Okay, this is nothing but it is called as initial public offering. So SEBI registered brokers have to be appointed for the purpose of accepting application as well as placing orders with the companies. Yes, so it has to be only SEBI registered brokers. So only SEBI registered brokers have to be appointed for the purpose of accepting application as well as placing orders with the company. So the issuer company should also appoint a registrar to the issue of electronic connectivity with the exchange. So the issuer company, he can apply for existing of its security. The issuer company can apply for listing of its security on any exchange other than the exchange through which it has offered its security. The issuer company can apply for listing of its securities on any exchange other than exchange through which it has offered its security. So the lead manager coordinates all the activities amongst intermediaries connected with the issue. So the main thing here is nothing but an initial public offerings. So company which is proposing to issue the public capital to the public through the online system of stock exchange, what it has to do is it has to enter into an agreement with stock exchange. Okay, so this is called as initial public offering. So the SEBI registered brokers, they have to be appointed for the purpose of accepting applications and placing orders with the company. So the issuer company, what it has to do is it should appoint a registrar to the issue having electronic connectivity with the exchange. Okay, so the issuer company can apply for listing of its securities on any exchange other than the exchange through which it has offered its security. Can raise or it can apply for listing of its security on any exchange other than the exchange with through which it has offered its securities. Okay, understood? The next concept is secondary market. Okay, so what is the secondary market? So secondary market, it is also known as stock market or stock exchanges. So you people are familiar with the word stock market or stock exchange. So secondary market is also known as stock market or stock exchange. So it is a market for purchase and sale of existing securities. So here we are not dealing with new shares. Yes, we are dealing with those securities that are already available in the market. So it is a market for purchase and sale of existing securities. So it helps existing investor to de-invest and fresh investor to enter the market. It helps existing investors to invest and the fresh investors to enter the market. So it also provides liquidity. It also provides liquidity when it comes to when it comes to existing security. So not just the liquidity, but also it provides marketability to the existing securities. So it also contributes to economic growth by channelizing funds towards most reproductive investment through the process of disinvestment and reinvestment. So securities, they are traded cleared and settled within the regulatory frameworks prescribed by SEBI. So SEBI is a regulatory authority. Okay, SEBI is a regulatory authority. So each and every investment, it has to be traded, cleared and settled within the regulatory framework that is prescribed by SEBI. So advances in information technology have totally made trading through stock exchange much easier. Okay, which is accessible from everywhere in the country through trading terminal. So along with the growth of the primary market in the country, the secondary market has also grown significantly during the last 10 years, you can see. Okay, so it's like the technology becomes very important. The technology has a great amount of what do you say, like a great amount of change that is brought into the economy. The next concept is stock exchange. Stock exchange. So stock exchange is an institution which provides what do you say, like a stock exchange is an institution which provides a platform for buying and selling of existing securities. Okay, it provides a platform for buying and selling existing securities. So as a market, the stock exchange totally facilitates the exchange of securities. So the securities exchange of security means it may be shares or debentures, okay, into money. Is the stock exchange, it facilitates exchange of securities into money and vice versa. So stock exchange, they totally help companies raise finance, provide liquidity and safety to the investors, and enhance the credit worthiness of individual companies. It enhances the credit worthiness of individual investors. Yeah. So here, what is the meaning of a stock exchange? Meaning of stock exchange. So according to Securities Contract Act of 1956, stock exchange means anybody of individuals, whether incorporated or not, constituted for the purpose of assisting, regulating or controlling the business of buying and selling or dealing in securities. So you have this meaning in your textbook. Just copy this. According to Securities Contract Act of 1956, stock exchange means anybody of individual, whether incorporated or not, constituted for the purpose of assisting, regulating or controlling the business of buying and selling or dealing in securities. The next concept is functions of stock exchange. So what are the functions of a stock exchange? So it's like this active and healthy secondary market in existing securities leads to positive environment among the investors. Okay, so the active and healthy secondary market, it helps to have healthy secondary market in existing securities. It leads to positive environment among the investors. Okay, so what are the functions of stock exchange? So the first one is providing liquidity and marketability to existing securities. So the basic function of the stock exchange is creation of continuous market. The main or the basic function of stock exchange is to see that there is a continuous market where securities are bought and sold. So it gives investors a chance to disinvest and reinvest. Disinvestment is nothing but selling the shares which they have. Okay, selling the shares which they have and purchasing the new shares. So it gives investors a chance to disinvest as well as reinvest. Okay, so this provides both liquidity and easy marketability to already existing securities in the market. So liquidity can be reached very easily, or it is easy to provide liquidity as well as marketability, right? Because it is very easy for you to disinvest as well as reinvest in the secondary market, that is in the stock exchange. The second one is pricing of securities. Pricing of securities. Share prices on stock exchange are determined by forces of demand and supply. Obviously, when the demand for the share increases, obviously the share prices or the face value of the shares also increases. So okay, so here share prices on the stock exchange are determined by the forces of demand and supply. The stock exchange, it is totally a mechanism of constant valuation through which the prices of the securities are determined. So demand plays a main role. So just like how the demand changes, okay, or the graph of the demand changes, there will be certain change in the prices of the securities. Okay, so stock exchange, it is just a mechanism of valuation through which the prices of securities will be determined. So such a valuation totally provides important instant information to both buyers and sellers in the market. It provides instant information to both buyers as well as sellers in the market. So what buyers or sellers can do is like they can take necessary actions, or they can take necessary decisions regarding both buying as well as selling their securities. The third one is safety of transaction. Safety of transaction. So the membership of stock exchange is well regulated, and its dealings are well defined according to the existing legal framework. The membership of the stock exchange is well regulated and its dealings are well defined according to existing legal framework. So this totally ensures that investing public gets a safe and fair deal on the market. Investing public gets investing public gets a safe and fair deal on the market. So the membership of the stock exchange is well regulated, and its dealings, they are well defined according to the existing legal frameworks, right? Like I told you, the stock exchanges are totally governed, or it is controlled by Securities and Exchange Board of India. So it will have certain frameworks, and each and everything will be according to the existing framework. So this ensures that investing public gets safe and fair deal on the market. Why? Because investors should not get exploited in any way. Yeah, investors should not get exploited in any way. So what you have to do is like, it's very important that you see that investors are not getting exploited. They get a proper safe and fair deal on the market. The fourth point is contributes to economic growth. Contributes to economic growth. So stock exchange in a market, stock exchange is a market in which existing securities are resold or traded. So here it's like existing securities, they are resold or traded. So through this process of disinvestment and reinvestment, that is selling and buying process, savings get channelized into most productive investment avenue. So what happens? The savings, it gets mobilized, or it gets channelized into most productive investment avenue. So this totally leads to capital formation and economic growth. This leads to capital formation. So it helps in formation of capital, as well as it helps in increasing the growth of the economy, or it leads in economic growth. The fifth one is spreading of equity cult. Spreading of equity cult. So The stock exchange can play a vital role in ensuring wide share ownership by regulating new issues. The stock exchange, it can play vital role or a very important role in ensuring wide share ownership by regulating new issues. So better trading practices and taking effective steps in educating the public about investment. Okay, so it's very important that the investors should be educated. The investors will have to be educated. So the stock exchange, it plays an important role in ensuring that a wide share ownership are getting information about it. Yes, so by regulating new issues as well as better trading practices and taking effective steps in educating the public about the investment. Okay, so the last one is providing a scope for a speculation. Providing scope for speculation. Providing scope for speculation. So the stock exchange, what it does is like it provides sufficient scope within the provision of laws for speculative activity in a restricted and controlling or controlled manner. So usually it is said that speculation is not a good habit. Yes, it's not a proper investment. Speculation is not a proper investment or a proper kind of investment. So it is said that example, the speculation is not a good habit when it comes to investment. So it says that stock exchange, it provides sufficient scope within the provision of the law for speculative activity in a restricted as well as in a controlled manner. So it is generally accepted that a certain degree of healthy speculation is necessary to ensure liquidity and price continuity in the stock market. So usually they say that the once the investment is made on shares, what you have to do is like you will have to wait for at least 6 months in order to resell, sell those shares. That is your disinvestment and reinvestment. So here it says that a certain amount of speculation or a certain degree of healthy speculation is very important in order to maintain the degree or in order to maintain the liquidity as well as the price continuity in the stock market. So all this is all about your stock exchange and the functions of stock exchange. So in the next class we will be discussing about the depository, NSE, BSE and other things. Thank you.